The ambush. Captain Sarah Rodriguez stood at the helm of the UES Prometheus, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display as the massive supercarrier's warning systems blared. 37 Nexar warships had emerged from quantum space, their crystalline hulls gleaming with an otherworldly purple sheen as they moved to surround the human vessel. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of their situation. Lieutenant Commander James Chen, the ship's tactical officer, responded without taking his eyes off his console. "Nexar vessels have formed a containment pattern, Captain. Energy signatures indicate they're charging their gravitic lances. Our shields are at maximum, but they won't hold against a concentrated barrage." The Prometheus, pride of the United Earth Fleet, was 3 kilometers of advanced human engineering. Yet at this moment, trapped in the Carina Nebula's dense particle field, it might as well have been a rowboat facing a hurricane. Their routine patrol had turned into an ambush, and Rodriguez knew the Nexar hadn't chosen this location by accident. The nebula's unique properties would prevent them from making a quantum jump to safety. "Engineering, what's our status?" Rodriguez called out. Chief Engineer Maya Santos's voice crackled through the comm. Her Filipino accent was thicker than usual, a tell that she was under stress. "The quantum core is stable, Captain, but these particle fields are playing havoc with our main drive harmonics. We need at least 15 minutes to recalibrate for a safe jump." Rodriguez's jaw tightened. They didn't have 15 minutes. The Nexar were silicon-based crystalline beings who viewed organic life as an aberration in the cosmic order. They had emerged from the depths of space 6 months ago, and their first action had been to atomize a civilian research outpost. Their technology was unlike anything humanity had encountered. Ships grown from living crystal, weapons that manipulated the fundamental forces of gravity itself. "They're broadcasting, Captain," Communications Officer Yuki Tanaka announced. Text only. The message appeared on the main screen. "Surrender your vessel. Organic resistance is futile. Your MTTR will be originated for the greater harmony." Rodriguez allowed herself a grim smile. "Mr. Chen, what's the status of Project Mirror?" Chen's fingers danced across his console. "The quantum resonance arrays are operational, but untested. Dr. Werner's team hasn't completed the calibration sequences." "Well, they're about to get a field test." Rodriguez opened a shipwide channel. "All hands, this is the captain. Battle stations. Engineering. Divert all non-essential power to the shields. Dr. Werner, report to the bridge immediately." Dr. Alexandra Werner, the ship's lead quantum physicist, arrived moments later. Her gray hair was disheveled, and her research team's patch on her uniform was slightly askew. "Captain, if you're thinking what I think you're thinking, I should warn you that the resonance technology is highly experimental. We have no idea how it will interact with the Nexar's crystalline technology." Rodriguez finished. "That's exactly what we're going to find out. The Nexar's entire civilization is based on precisely organized crystalline structures. Their ships, their weapons, even their bodies operate on principles of quantum resonance. Your project was designed to study their technology. Now we're going to use it." Another message flashed across the screen. "Your silence is irrelevant. Prepare for reclamation." "They're powering up their gravitic lances," Chen reported. "Impact in 30 seconds. Rodriguez turned to Werner. "Doctor, I need options. Those crystals of theirs operate on quantum harmonics, correct?" Werner's eyes widened as she grasped the captain's intention. Yes. Their entire technology is based on maintaining perfect quantum coherence across their crystalline matrices. If we could generate an opposing resonance pattern, could we use the quantum core to do it? It's possible, but we'd need to modify the resonance arrays to broadcast on their frequency. And if we make even a slight miscalculation... 20 seconds to impact, Chen interrupted. Rodriguez made her decision. "Do it. Engineering, prepare to route power to the resonance arrays on my mark. Tactical, target their flagship with everything we've got. I want their attention focused on our conventional weapons. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, even as the massive Nexer fleet closed in around them. The alien vessels were things of terrible beauty, their crystalline structures catching the light of distant stars and refracting it in impossible patterns. Resonance arrays modified, Werner announced. But Captain, I must emphasize that this is completely untested. The feedback could destroy our quantum core. Better that than letting them reclaim us, Rodriguez replied. Engineering, are you ready? Resonance generators at full power, Santos confirmed. But ma'am, if this works, the energy discharge is going to be massive. We'll be riding the shockwave. 10 seconds to impact, Chen called out. Rodriguez gripped the arms of her command chair. Everything would depend on the next few moments. Either they were about to change the course of the war, or they were about to become another casualty in humanity's struggle for survival. 5 seconds. She took a deep breath. All hands, brace for impact. Engineering, initiate quantum resonance on my mark. The Nexer fleet's gravitic lances began to glow with deadly purpose. 3. Werner's fingers flew across her console, making final adjustments. 2. The shield indicators were already starting to fluctuate from the building energy. 1. Rodriguez's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Mark. The engineer's gambit. The quantum resonance pulse erupted from the Prometheus like a newborn star. For a split second, the space around the supercarrier seemed to ripple, as if reality itself was being pulled apart and reassembled. The pulse swept outward, invisible to the naked eye, but registering as a tsunami on their quantum sensors. When it reached the first line of Nexer ships, the effect was instantaneous and spectacular. The crystalline vessels began to vibrate, their perfectly aligned structures suddenly thrown into chaos. The purple glow of their hulls flickered erratically, like dying neon signs. Their gravitic lances, milliseconds from firing, sputtered and died. Direct hit, Chen called out, his voice filled with disbelief. Nexer fleet showing widespread quantum destabilization. Their weapon systems are going offline. But Rodriguez's victory smile lasted only seconds. A violent shudder ran through the Prometheus, and warning klaxons blared with renewed urgency. Engineering report, she demanded. Maya Santos's voice was strained. The quantum core is experiencing severe feedback, Captain. The resonance is bouncing back through our systems. We've got maybe 5 minutes before total containment failure. Dr. Werner's face had gone pale. The Nexer ships, they're acting like quantum mirrors, reflecting our pulse back at us with amplified force. The mathematics. I should have seen this possibility. Rodriguez watched as the tactical display showed the Nexer ships starting to recover, their crystalline structures gradually realigning. They had bought themselves a few precious minutes, but at what cost? Options, she barked. I need them now. Santos's voice cut through the chaos. Captain, I have an idea. It's crazy, but... She paused, and Rodriguez could practically hear the gears turning in her chief engineer's mind. The quantum feedback is following predictable harmonic patterns. If we modify our shield frequency to match the resonance, we'll burn out our shield generators, Chen interrupted. Yes, but before that happens, we could create a quantum feedback loop. Turn their own reflection against them. It's like setting up two mirrors facing each other, but with quantum energy. Werner's eyes lit up. The exponential cascade. Maya, that's brilliant. Captain, if we can sustain the loop for even 30 seconds, the feedback would overwhelm their crystalline matrices. They'd have to either shut down their systems or risk complete structural failure. Rodriguez didn't hesitate. Do it. Mr. Chen, prepare to divert all remaining weapon power to the shields. Dr. Werner, help engineering set up that feedback loop. Everyone else, secure all stations. This is going to get rough. The next few minutes were a symphony of organized chaos. The bridge crew worked with desperate efficiency while the massive supercarrier groaned around them. Through the viewports, they could see the Nexer ships regaining their purple glow, preparing for another attack. Feedback loop configured, Santos reported. But Captain, there's a catch. We'll need to drop our conventional shields completely for 2.3 seconds while we switch to the resonance frequency. If the Nexer realize what we're doing and manage to fire during that window. Rodriguez finished the thought. They'll tear us apart. Understood. She opened a shipwide channel. All hands, this is the captain. Secure all stations and prepare for possible impact. Medical teams on standby. The Nexer ships had fully recovered now, their formations tightening around the Prometheus like a noose. A new message flashed across the main screen. Your resist ance is noted. Your TCK nology will be studied as we reclaim your matetir. They're powering up their gravitic lances again, Chen reported. 40 seconds to firing position. Rodriguez leaned forward in her chair. Route emergency power to forward armor. Engineering on my mark. Initiate the feedback loop. Bridge crew, synchronize your watches. When I give the word, we have exactly 2.3 seconds to complete this transition. If we're off by even a millisecond, she let the thought hang in the air. Everyone knew the stakes. 30 seconds to Nexer firing position, Chen announced. Werner spoke up from her station. Captain, if this works, the quantum cascade will be spectacular. We should probably avoid looking directly at the Nexer ships when it happens. Noted. Helm, prepare for emergency maneuvers. The moment our shields are back up, I want us moving. Engineering, status. Feedback loop prepped and ready, Santos replied. The quantum core is holding stable, but only just. We won't get a second attempt at this. 20 seconds, Chen called out. Rodriguez took a deep breath, her mind racing through calculations and possibilities. The Nexer had never encountered a defeat. Their crystalline technology had proven superior to everything humanity had thrown at them, but they had never faced human ingenuity backed into a corner. 10 seconds. The purple glow of the Nexer weapons reached its peak intensity. On the tactical display, targeting solutions from 37 gravitic lances converged on the Prometheus. 5 seconds. Rodriguez's voice was steel. Stand by to drop shields. Engineering, prepare quantum feedback loop. 3. The bridge crew tensed, each person's hand hovering over their console. 2. The Nexer ship's crystalline hulls pulsed with deadly purpose. 1. Rodriguez allowed herself one last thought. Humanity's future might depend on the next 2.3 seconds. Execute. Chain reaction. For 2.3 seconds, the UES Prometheus hung defenseless in space. To the crew, it felt like an eternity. The Nexer struck immediately, their gravitic lances releasing concentrated beams of gravitational force. But in their eagerness to destroy the human vessel, they made a crucial mistake. They fired a fraction of a second too early. Shields transitioning. Santos called out. Quantum feedback loop engaging. Now. The energy from the Nexer weapons hit the Prometheus just as its new shield configuration snapped into place. Instead of tearing the ship apart, the gravitational energy was caught in the quantum feedback loop, amplified, and reflected back at the alien fleet. The effect was beyond anything they had anticipated. The reflected energy slammed into the nearest Nexer vessels, their crystalline structures resonating with the feedback loop. But instead of simply damaging the ships, something extraordinary happened. The quantum cascade began to spread from ship to ship, each crystalline vessel amplifying and transmitting the effect to its neighbors. My God, Werner whispered, staring at her readings. The Nexer ships, their quantum crystalline matrices are linked. They're all part of the same network. The feedback isn't just affecting individual ships, it's propagating through their entire fleet. The view through the bridge windows was astonishing. The Nexer vessels were vibrating in perfect synchronization, their purple glow intensifying to near blinding levels. Crystalline fragments began breaking off from their hulls, each piece shimmering with trapped energy. Engineering to bridge. Santos's voice was urgent. Captain, the quantum core is stabilizing. The Nexer fleet is actually drawing power away from us through the feedback loop. But these readings, I've never seen anything like this. Rodriguez gripped her chair as the Prometheus shuddered. Explain. The Nexer ships aren't just connected, Captain. Werner cut in, her scientific curiosity overtaking her fear. They're a quantum-entangled superorganism. Each ship is like a cell in a larger crystalline entity. By creating this feedback loop, we've essentially introduced a virus into their network. On the tactical display, they watched as the chain reaction spread. The Nexer fleet's perfect formation began to break down as ships tried desperately to break free from the quantum cascade. But their very nature, the crystalline technology that made them so formidable, had become their greatest weakness. Message incoming, Tanaka announced. Multiple channels, completely different format from their previous communications. The message that scrolled across their screens was fragmented, chaotic. Emergency pyrotoxico initiative huantium coherenc failing. Attempting emergency conscious tyrannocephere. Network integrity. Calmum pro. Myacid. Requesting. They're trying to download their consciousness from their ships, Werner realized. The Nexer aren't just using crystalline technology. They've fully merged with it. As their ships destabilize, they're losing their ability to maintain their own awareness. Chen's tactical display was lighting up with new data. Captain, I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the Nexer fleet. Some kind of chain reaction is building in their quantum matrices. Rodriguez saw an opportunity. Can we use this? Find a way to end this without destroying them completely. Werner and Santos exchanged looks over their comlink. It was Santos who spoke first. Captain, if we can modify the feedback loop's frequency, we might be able to force their systems into a kind of quantum hibernation. It would shut down their ships without completely destroying their crystalline matrices, and preserve the Nexer consciousness within. Rodriguez asked. Theoretically, Werner confirmed, but we'd need to act fast. Their network is approaching critical destabilization. Another message flashed across their screens, this one even more broken. We understand. Now, organic, adaptation, unprecedented, whale, negotiate. Rodriguez made her decision. Do it. Engineering, modify that feedback loop. Let's show them that humanity doesn't need to destroy an enemy to win a war. The next few minutes were tense as Santos and Werner worked to adjust the quantum resonance. Around them, the Nexer fleet continued to destabilize, chunks of crystal breaking off from their hulls and spinning away into space. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying, like watching a field of purple stars shatter in slow motion. Modification complete, Santos announced, initiating new resonance pattern in 3, 2, 1. The quantum feedback loop shifted frequency. The violent vibrations in the Nexer fleet began to slow, the blinding purple glow dimming to a soft, pulsing luminescence. One by one, the crystalline ships ceased their chaotic movement, settling into a dormant state. Status, Rodriguez demanded. Nexer fleet is powering down, Chen reported, detecting minimal energy signatures. They appear to be hibernating, for lack of a better term. Werner was studying her readings intently. The crystalline matrices are stable, Captain. I'm still detecting coherent quantum patterns within their structures. Their consciousness, or at least the data that comprises it, appears to be intact. A final message appeared on their screens, faint but clear. Co-NSSIO, USNES. Preserved. Will. Remember. Human. Mercy. The bridge was silent for a long moment as the crew absorbed what had just happened. They had faced the most advanced alien civilization humanity had ever encountered, and won not through superior firepower, but through understanding, adaptation, and a refusal to answer extinction with extinction. "Signal Earth Command," Rodriguez ordered finally. Tell them we have a lot to discuss with the Nexer when they wake up, and issue a Priority 1 technological advisory to all human vessels. Update your shield protocols. We just changed the rules of space combat." As the Prometheus's crew began the process of securing their victory, the dormant Nexer fleet hung in space around them, their crystalline hulls now softly pulsing like a starfield of purple heartbeats. It was not the end they had expected when the battle began. It was something far more profound. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of surviving against a superior force, but of finding a way to turn an enemy into a potential ally. The real victory wasn't in the technology they had developed or the battle they had won. It was in showing that even in the darkest moment, humans could choose innovation over destruction, understanding over annihilation. The hunter becomes the hunted. As the Prometheus's crew worked to secure their unprecedented victory, the ship's quantum sensors detected something troubling. In the distance, beyond the dormant Nexer fleet, 3 more crystalline signatures were approaching rapidly. "Captain," Chen called out, his voice tense. 3 Nexer dreadnoughts just dropped out of quantum space. They must have been summoned when the fleet began to destabilize. Rodriguez straightened in her chair. "Status of our quantum core." "Stable but depleted," Santos reported from engineering. "We used a lot of power in that feedback loop. We're at 40% capacity." The approaching dreadnoughts were massive, easily twice the size of the ships they just neutralized. Their crystalline structures pulsed with a deeper, more ominous purple, suggesting more advanced quantum matrices. "They're broadcasting," Tanaka announced. The message that appeared was different from the previous Nexer communications, more complex and layered. "Organic interference, DKTCTD. QUNTUM network HUORUPITION ID INTIFIED. PURIME MEROI DEVI REC 5E. Cleanse and reclaim." "Dr. Werner," Rodriguez turned to the quantum physicist. "Could we use the same trick twice?" Werner shook her head. "These readings, their quantum shielding is far more sophisticated. They must have already adapted to our resonance technique." Rodriguez allowed herself a grim smile. "Then we'll have to show them something new. Maya, how quickly can you modify our quantum core?" "Modify it for what, Captain?" "You said the Nexer ships are networked together. What if we could use our quantum core to tap into that network? Not to attack it, but to communicate." There was a pause as Santos processed the idea. "You want to speak to them in their own language. It's possible, but risky. We'd have to reconfigure the core's output to match their quantum frequency exactly. One miscalculation could destroy us, yes. But look at our alternatives." Rodriguez gestured at the tactical display, where the dreadnoughts were moving to surround them. "We've proven we can hurt them. Now let's prove we can reach them." The bridge crew worked with renewed purpose. Werner and Santos collaborated over the comm, their technical discussion a rapid-fire exchange of quantum mechanics and engineering principles. Meanwhile, the dreadnoughts drew closer, their weapons charging. "They're powering up something big," Chen warned. "Energy readings are off the charts." Rodriguez opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is the captain. What we're about to attempt has never been done before. We're going to try to communicate with the Nexer through their own quantum network. Brace for potential quantum fluctuations throughout the ship." In engineering, Santos and her team worked feverishly to reconfigure the quantum core. The technology that powered their faster-than-light travel would now be used to attempt something unprecedented, a direct quantum-level dialogue with an alien consciousness. "Ready, Captain," Santos reported after several tense minutes. "But I should warn you, this is going to be a two-way connection. If we can access their network, they can access ours." Rodriguez finished. "Understood. Dr. Werner, are you ready to transmit?" "Yes, Captain. I've prepared a quantum signal that should be recognizable to their consciousness network. It's based on universal mathematical constants. They should recognize it as an attempt at communication rather than an attack. The dreadnoughts were now in firing position, their crystalline hulls resonating with building power. Another message flashed across their screens. Final warning. Surrender or be aniseed. Rodriguez took a deep breath. Initiate quantum transmission. The effect was immediate and startling. As their modified quantum signal reached out to the Nexar network, the bridge's displays began to flicker with strange patterns. Crystalline formations appeared to grow across their screens, forming and reforming in complex geometric patterns. "They're responding," Werner exclaimed. "The patterns, they're a form of quantum language. Their entire consciousness is based on crystalline growth patterns." The patterns became more organized, more deliberate. Colors shifted through spectrums humans had no names for, carrying meaning in their variations. "I'm running this through our xenolinguistics database," Tanaka reported. "Combining it with what we learned from their earlier communications, I think I can translate some of it." The patterns resolved into text. "Why do you note ATTACK? Your weapons PUROVEFECTWV. Organic behavior patterns. INDICAKUU SHOILDCEK our destruction." Rodriguez nodded to Tanaka. "Send this response. We seek understanding, not destruction. Your dormant fleet can be revived. We chose preservation over annihilation. We offer the same choice now." The crystalline patterns swirled faster, more chaotically. The dreadnought's weapons remained charged but didn't fire. New text appeared. "Impossible. Organics are chaos. Disorder. Entropy jive form." "Send this," Rodriguez commanded. "We are not chaos. We are adaptation. Not disorder, but evolution. We defeated your fleet not through superior strength, but through understanding and innovation. Let us prove that organic and crystalline life can coexist." The quantum transmission continued, patterns flowing back and forth between the ships like a conversation between stars. The dreadnought's weapons gradually powered down as the dialogue deepened. Finally, a new message appeared. "Hypothesis. Organic adaptation. Potentially beneficial to network evolution. Proposal. Continued communication. Peaceful interaction. Mutual growth." The bridge crew broke into relieved smiles, but Rodriguez wasn't finished. "Send one final message. We accept, with one condition. You must acknowledge the right of all organic civilizations to exist freely. We will not be reclaimed." The response came after a long pause. "Terms. Acceptable. Paradigm shift initid. New protocols stabilized. Organic independence reorganized. Victory through innovation." 3 months after the encounter in the Carina Nebula, the UES Prometheus sat in high orbit above Earth, its quantum core humming in perfect harmony with the crystalline structures that now adorned parts of its hull. The modifications were a visible symbol of the unprecedented collaboration between humanity and the Nexar Collective. Captain Rodriguez stood in the ship's newly constructed quantum exchange chamber, watching as crystalline formations grew and shifted across the walls in patterns that had become familiar over the past weeks. Next to her stood Admiral Chen, recently promoted after the events that had changed the course of human-Nexar relations. "The Joint Development Council is impressed with the progress," Chen said, gesturing at the shifting patterns. "Who would have thought that our greatest enemies would become our most valuable teachers?" Rodriguez smiled. "Mida's engineering team has already incorporated Nexar quantum principles into our shield systems. The improvements in efficiency are remarkable." She paused as a particular pattern caught her eye. "They're learning from us too. Did you see the latest reports? The Nexar have started experimenting with organic-inspired adaptability in their crystalline matrices. The chamber's patterns shifted to a deep blue, indicating the arrival of their Nexar counterpart. The crystalline consciousness that materialized in the quantum interface had chosen to call itself Unity through Diversity, a name that reflected the profound change in Nexar philosophy. Greetings, organic allies. Unity's thoughts translated into text across the chamber's walls. The reawakening of the dormant fleet proceeds as planned. Each vessel's consciousness emerges with new perspectives, shaped by the experience of quantum hibernation. They seek dialogue rather than dominance. Rodriguez nodded. The diplomatic teams are ready to receive them. Earth Command has prepared specialized communication facilities at all major spaceports. A query. Unity's patterns swirled thoughtfully. Your method of victory continues to fascinate our collective consciousness. You could have destroyed us, yet you chose a path that required greater effort and risk. This defies quantum efficiency calculations. Sometimes the most efficient solution isn't the best one, Rodriguez replied. Humanity has learned that lesson through centuries of our own conflicts. The harder path often leads to better outcomes. The patterns shifted to a shade of purple that they had learned indicated agreement. Your organic adaptability continues to modify our understanding. We have begun implementing randomness generators in our quantum matrices, inspired by your neural processes. The results are intriguing. Admiral Chen stepped forward. Speaking of results, I have news from the Admiralty. They've approved the joint mission to the Horsehead Nebula. The Prometheus will carry both human and Nexar crews, the first of its kind. The crystalline patterns momentarily flared with increased intensity, the Nexar equivalent of excitement. The combined advantages of organic intuition and crystalline precision will greatly enhance our exploration capabilities. This mission marks the beginning of true symbiosis between our species. Rodriguez felt a surge of pride. Just 3 months ago, the very idea of humans and Nexar working together would have seemed impossible. Now they were planning joint missions to unexplored regions of space. There's more, Chen continued. The quantum communication network you helped us establish has detected signals from the galactic core. They appear to be artificial in origin, but neither human nor Nexar in nature. Unity's patterns became more complex, incorporating new geometries, unknown civilizations, new perspectives to encounter. Will they be organic, crystalline, perhaps something entirely different? Whatever they are, Rodriguez said, we'll face them together. The Prometheus will lead the expedition. We've already proven that the combination of human creativity and Nexar technology is greater than the sum of its parts. The chamber's patterns shifted through a series of colors as Unity processed this. An observation. Perhaps this was the inevitable outcome. The universe tends toward complexity, toward the integration of different systems. Our attempt to impose crystalline order on organic chaos was fundamentally flawed. True progress lies in the synthesis of seemingly opposing forces. Poetic, Chen remarked. You've been studying human philosophy, as you have been studying our quantum mathematics. Both perspectives enrich each other. This is the core principle that we failed to grasp in our original directive to reclaim organic life. Rodriguez watched as her ship's quantum core synchronized with Unity's crystalline patterns, the harmony between the two systems visible in the flowing designs across the chamber walls. The sight reminded her of that desperate moment 3 months ago, when they had chosen understanding over destruction. Captain, Unity's patterns formed new configurations. Our combined fleet awaits your command. The unknown signals beckon. Shall we proceed? Rodriguez smiled. This was what humanity had always dreamed of, not just reaching the stars, but finding new allies, new perspectives, new ways of understanding the universe itself. They had turned an enemy into a partner not through force of arms, but through the uniquely human qualities of innovation, adaptability, and the courage to choose the harder path. Send word to both fleets, she commanded. The joint mission launches in 48 hours. Let's show the galaxy what humanity and the Nexar can accomplish together. As the Prometheus prepared for its historic mission, its hybrid crew, human and Nexar, organic and crystalline, worked in seamless cooperation. The ship itself had become a symbol of something profound. The moment when humanity proved that the greatest victories aren't won through destruction, but through the power of understanding, innovation, and the willingness to see potential allies in former enemies. The quantum core pulsed with combined human and Nexar technology, ready to carry them into whatever mysteries awaited in the depths of space. They had not just survived an encounter with an advanced alien civilization. They had transformed it into an opportunity for growth and discovery. This was humanity at its best, facing the unknown not with fear or aggression, but with curiosity, adaptability, and the courage to imagine better possibilities. The stars awaited, and for the first time, they would explore them not as individual species, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, the quest to understand the infinite diversity of the cosmos itself.